Hey everyone. Hey everyone, Amanda here. Welcome to my channel. And today we get to talk to Derek and Arien. And we're gonna jump into all things around Christian mysticism, plant medicine as a sacrament, walking through deep darkness in order to find the light within, and anything else that comes up. So yeah, hey guys, just introduce yourself, let us know where you're calling in from, and yeah.
What's up? I'm Truthseekah, and I'm a spiritual, esoteric hip hop artist, author, um, influencer, father, friend, husband. Wear many hats, and I'm joined by my lovely wife, Erin.
Yes, I'm Arien, and we live in the Mobile, Alabama area. It's been beautiful today. Been soaking up the sunshine, and my forte, I love to study, especially the Bible, dissecting the hidden meanings in there and what things mean. I love sound healing. I'm very passionate about frequency and very new to the subject, but diving in and really love to see what frequency can do with the body and trauma and how to break up and heal things that we've buried sometimes that we maybe don't even know is there. And just passionate about healing in general.
Awesome. Well, yeah, let's jump into you guys' story. And for all these questions, whoever wants to answer or both, just be free. Um, what was your life like, years ago before you started to walk on this path, and how has the spiritual awakening been? What happened to you?
Cool. Um, well, many years ago, when we were very young, we were still together. Um, we were walking a dark path. We had a lot of um, childhood things and traumas from relationship. I had trauma from relationship, and we walked into darkness in search of power. We both were interested in the mystic side of life in the world, and came out of church more, I think, as a rebellion type of thing, but seeking power and seeking the things that we knew intuitively were there on the other side of the veil. And we did seek it through church when we were very, very young, separately, before we even knew each other. And we just started crossing over the line into some really dark things through other people that we had met. A warlock that lived nearby, seeing his power and the things that he wielded, and tiptoeing into the dark side opens up to a lot of dark things coming in. And so we both harbored a lot of dark energy from that time in our life. And it got to the point where it was affecting really his health physically. And he just would look like he was dying. He would break out into this really white skin, pale skin, sweating, heart racing, and schizophrenia type tendencies where you're hearing voices. We think we both had a little bit of that. And um, we came to Christ because it was to the point where it was kind of the last straw. He was like, because I was very against it. Um, and he was like, look, we've got, something's got to change. I'm dying. I can't live this way anymore. If you'll just try it with me, just give it a week or 2 weeks and see what happens, kind of thing. And we both had an amazing Christ, Holy Spirit experience together. And as far as following Christ, I've never looked back since then. Um,
That was in that was on September 7th of 2000.
very long
So
time
this is a
ago.
long, yeah. This is I was 16 when all that happened. Sounds like it's life, and it's like kind of recently. It's like it's been many years since
Yeah.
that happened. But yeah, that was early on in like our introduction to the spirit world and spirituality was the dark side, was Satanism and Wicca, and really just blending all the occult dark stuff that we could um, together to try to see what worked. And all of it worked at the same time. It's like none of it worked until all of it worked, and we're doing all these rituals and stuff like that, and some kind of portal opened up in my mind and in our home, and we started being visited and tormented by spirits.
Mm-hmm.
She would see him in the physical, we'd see him together, but I would be pulled into weird trances, and they would all try to communicate with me at the same time. It went from like 0 to 100 with psychic abilities and all that stuff, and they kind of saw me as fair game, and I got to see like all the bad stuff that I was entertaining, the stuff that I was doing, the energies that were associated with it, gang activity, drugs, robbing people, all that kind of stuff, the music that I was listening to. Um, yeah, and it once that door was open, like nobody like you can't maintain that. I was gonna go mad because they would pull me into trances at will and speaking foreign languages, and I'd see them, faces, shapes, colors, all trying to talk to me, tormenting me, trickster spirits, departed souls, all kinds of things. So much that you can't even really identify it. A well of souls, if you will, that my body became a Ouija board. And yeah, that was in September 7th of 2000. I was like, I gotta get my life right back with God. I'm going crazy. They're literally trying to take my mind from me, and my body's deteriorating. I'm coughing up blood and all kind of stuff. So that was my rededication to God after being away for like 2 years after having a born again experience as a teenager, and so that happened. We got into church and relocated, and God did some, like amazing things in our lives and proved Himself strong. Like within a week, like answered every prayer that we had within a week, and just like it was just like miracles that we would know. And because she was still on the fence, kind of thing, like, hey, I'm just gonna follow you. Sure, I love you so much. I'll do whatever you want. Like I'll become a Christian. Sure, kind of thing. And then just in that process of like reading the Bible with me, studying, praying, and going to church, like, and she meant it. She just tried it. Um, God showed up and showed out, and we haven't looked back since. But um, studying, life and all this kind of stuff, gets deeper and stuff. And I feel like within 2 years, God brought me full circle to all of the things that I was looking into that were so-called demonic and occult and stuff like that, psychic abilities, buzzwords for Christians, right? Um, Brought me full circle to show me the right way to do it in the light and in Christ, and connected me with ministries that had resources and materials on how to do this, and training and biblical verses and all of this stuff, where you got to see how Jesus was operating in this stuff, and all the apostles and prophets and stuff. So, we're experiencing this stuff, but you go to church to try to get help, or they most of them don't cater to that. They don't have no idea what you're talking about. They're not equipped um, to answer that. And just so happens to be many witches and warlocks and things, and are. And so I think that we are now a standard for that. We want to be in the middle of those search algorithms for people looking for truth, if you will, and be able to share our story, and
Yeah.
share love and light.
Thank you. Um, you said the occult, you said Christian, you said mystic, and sometimes all those words can be vague or confusing. But based on your time with like the dark arts, dark forces, and then now being being in Christian mysticism and the light side of working with some of the invisible powers, talk about what it means to be a Christian mystic compared to like the dogmatic side that you used to be part of in Christianity.
I always say, like, I use that, and even that's a buzzword for the algorithms. Christian mystic, and people, I do podcasts, and people want to know what a Christian mystic is. It's it's really a Christian. Like when you read the Bible, and those people who followed Christ and imitated Christ, there are certain things that followed. Signs and wonders begin to follow. What is the sign? Synchronicities, whispers in the wind, like wonders, miracles beginning to follow. and then they begin to increase, and then your life becomes a sign and a wonder to somebody else. So for me, the definition of what a Christian mystic is, it really is just what a Christian is supposed to be, and people, again, with definitions and words and stuff, they get scared because in their mind, a mystic is something demonic. A mystic is somebody who believes that they can encounter God through relationship. And like, that's where there is no off and on. There is no, it's like Sunday and Wednesday and at church or when I'm reading. No, when I'm in, like, it's when you're not, it's when you think you're not tapped in and doing the Christian thing is when God is present. And in those moments, we seek him. So when you can see God in all, you begin to see him in your life, you see how close that all is God. It doesn't matter where you go. And when we read the scriptures, when we read about Jesus and Paul and these guys, that was their life. There wasn't an off and on. It doesn't matter where you sent them, where they went. Paul named like everything that could possibly happen. That happened in his life. And then he named everything that every elemental spirit and power and principality, and nothing can separate me from God. Put me in a prison cell by myself. He's still with me. Put me on a mountaintop, put me on television, put a microphone in front of me. It doesn't matter. Everywhere we go, he's with us, and we acknowledge him, and we're in communion with him. And when you're in that, now then you're in communion with the fellowship of the church and what the real church is. And it's not a building. It's people. And it's not labels. And that's what gets people. We know that. So we have to, there's really no way to dance around it, but it's to for us not to be attached to labels, you know what I'm saying? And to know that people are, and try to become all things to all people, you know. And there is no standard about what a doctrine or a dogma, like you said. It's relationship. And most Christians say that. They know that. A relationship. You don't turn it off and on. It's always there. So to me, that's just what a Christian mystic is. People, again, scared of the term, but they say Christian mystics are demonic. It's like, it's normal to me because my prayer life is very mystical. I pray and talk to God, and he talks back. That's a mystical experience. And if yours isn't, doesn't sound very fun.
Mm.
It's not, because this conversation, this prayer is just you telling God what you need or what you want, and it's over. You're not listening, you're not looking, you're not paying attention and letting God speak. So that's Christianity 101 for me. So there is no where does one begin or one end. It's the definition though, because somebody, even Christian, like even saying that tunes people out. It's like, oh, you guys you guys don't like gay people, right? You guys don't, because then now you're assuming that, hold on, who said that? Oh, you met a pastor who said that. You met 7 pastors who said that, and they cornered you in a church office, and it was very traumatizing, and they tried to pray the gay spirit out of you, and now you'll never step a foot in a church again. And now that's Christianity. So when I say Christianity, you think no. So there's where words come into play. And none of them are true. None of them hold any weight. The beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it's 1,000% real for the person. But, you know, that's not my truth.
Thanks. Um, so you've done a lot of study, both of you, and can you share a little bit with us about what you found when it comes to the sacramental use of plant medicines throughout the ages with saints and mystics?
Well, there are many plants and plant medicines that are mentioned in the Bible. I'm doing a study right now on sacred incense and fumigation and how that was used to carry prayers to heaven, to clear negative energy, to clean the air, to clean bodies. And so frankincense is one that's mentioned many times in the scriptures. And some people will try to pick it apart and say that it wasn't meant to be used by regular people, that it was meant to be used by the priests. But there's many scriptures also that say we are the priests and our bodies are the temple. So for me, frankincense is a great plant medicine for fumigation, but I also use it internally. Like I take the oil internally for healing, and I use it in my moisturizer I put on my face because it's really good for the skin. And that's one of my favorite plant medicines from
Yeah,
our studies.
just starting with plant medicine, and so all plants are medicine, you know, and what I want to bring to the table is, you know, bringing the ones that we've forgotten. Because we know when it comes to psychedelics and things like that, magic mushrooms and psilocybin, ayahuasca, and those kind of things are the ones who get the forefront. And if there's so many that's around us, like that, that are here to help you, that are here to help all types of things, depression, um, eating disorders. Like I found a weed in my backyard that the uh, natives used when they were perplexed between two opinions or two options, and they couldn't, like they didn't know what to choose, and they were stuck. They would take this plant, eat it, and then the doctor would prescribe it, or the shaman, the medicine man, the healer. Take this, and when you wake up tomorrow, you know exactly which way to go. Are you going north? Or are you going south? Whatever. And they're all around us, and we share a symbiotic relationship with them. And there's so many, and many of them are like psychoactive. They help you relax after a long day of work. Like many people come home and knock back a six pack or take a shot before bed because they can't sleep, and like it becomes easy and it's promoted. But we have things that are growing in our backyards that God, the father and the mother, know that we need because we're fearfully and wonderfully made, and it just so happens to grow around the place that you're living. And they're teaching us to go and destroy these weeds and spray Roundup on them and all this kind of stuff. So first of all, I want to salute all of the plants, and it's in the simplicity, it's in the nuance that's there. Cacao is a huge part of her healing story, and we love just chocolate, pure ceremonial grade chocolate, and to drink, what is it, two
2 ounces.
ounces?
Yeah.
That's a ceremonial dose, and your freaking heart is just wide open. And it's funny, we talk about this online, and people, you like guys are getting high and pray. No, like do that and pray. Do that and sing songs to God with your heart wide open. Man, it hits different, and people laugh and joke and stuff, but um, they're here for a reason, and we share a relationship with them because they're already praising the Creator and doing what they were created to do. Um, Sage, burning sage is another big one. We have Native American backgrounds, and that's one of the buzzwords that pastors demonize and trample under their feet. And there's tons of sermon clips of them mocking sage, saying you think that you can burn sage and get demons out of your house and all this kind of stuff. And you just got a sage demon, you got a smoky demon. And I'll tell you, in fact, sage draws demons to your home. And all of this propaganda that are untruths, that are clickbaity, and other people just click share and propagate it. But the very word sage itself means to heal. A wise sage is a healer. The Bible says that we should consult the sages, if there's any wise ones among you or who were before you, that you should consult them. And just so happens to be that their memory and their essence is continuing to speak to us through the plant kingdom, through the breath, through oxygen. And that's how close we are to this invisible kingdom that we can't see, but we can experience it. And the scriptures are very clear on that.
Thank you. So when you guys were talking about sage, I grew up in more like a ritualistic, dogmatic Christianity, and I heard the same kind of things. You know, sage is for witches and all this. So I just kind of stayed away from it because I really didn't know, and I didn't want to get myself into trouble with spirits. But when I was in a ceremony one time, I was having a difficult time. A lot of my old traumas were coming up. I was getting a lot of fright. It was a tough squeeze for me. And someone who was helping came by. It wasn't sage, it was tobacco, but they have some similar properties, right? And just blew a little bit of tobacco over me. And this was not a hallucination. It wasn't in my head. But suddenly I was back in my body. I was centered. There was no trouble. It was like it hadn't happened. And so, yeah, like these are allies for us that we've forgotten about or we've been separated from over the years, but they're coming back. And I love that you guys brought up or like the humble plants that are just around. They can be really potent. So
Yeah,
yeah, thanks for giving a shout
amazing.
out.
Yeah,
So
we
amazing.
found out recently that the natives from our area, there's these beautiful little daisies that
Mm,
grow in the backyard. It's called daisy fleabane. It's good for so many medicinal uses, but we found a new use that they used to bundle it for smudging, just like sage, to clear negative energy and to cleanse the air, like literally to clean the germs and stuff out of the air. And it's our yard's covered in it, and it's beautiful and it smells nice. And so I
yeah,
made like several, I was out there thanking mama and bundling it up, making little sage, smudging bundles out of it.
yeah. It's funny you say that about the sage thing because that was my initiation into sage at the ayahuasca retreat that we did. Because I had a similar experience. And it was like again like an initiation because you needed it and it showed up to help when you needed it. Um, there were no pastors there, there were no prayer team, you know. Jesus was there, but he is in all things good. And that's the way that we need to see change how we view him, of what he looks like, what he speaks through. Um, and he speaks through that. So, we've burned sage over the years, ritualistically, just out of faith kind of thing, because like, okay, I know that our ancestors did it and it cleanses the atmosphere. So we're just going to burn sage while we're praying and cleanse the atmosphere. There really wasn't a experience and encounter for us to really know that it works, until you needed it, and I needed it. And same thing happened. The shaman came up to me and anointed me with the sage, and it literally unhooked whatever spirits were around me, tormenting, like brought me back like instantly, burning the sage over me, fanning me with the um, feathers, the turkey feathers, I believe it were, or another bird, but I felt them flee and leave. Like it was amazing. And so now our sage burning is a lot deeper.
Mhm.
There's a deeper respect. There's something here that we didn't know for years, that we burn sage out of faith. But now it's like, hold on, this isn't just symbolic. All of this stuff is symbolic and it's just ritualistic until you're let in. And that's what happens. That's what's happening to everybody. To everybody. People are reading the Bible ritualistically until they're invited into a verse, until the angels pull you in and you experience that verse. And then you read it, and then you're experiencing the same thing Jesus or the disciples did. And rituals are good. We're repeating these stories and these cycles over and over and over, but something happens, you live life, and you're like, wow, I get it now. I get it. Baptism is another big one that's I've been big
Oh,
on,
yeah.
because baptism is just simply symbolic. And I preach this. I baptize people. I'm just repeating what they told me to say. And I repeat the scriptures. Baptism is a outward representation of the work that Christ has done inwardly. And they would go to the water. So everyone was at the river because it was a major crossing. And they would just dunk people in the water. And when you came up wet and you walked home wet, Everybody knew that you were a Christian because you were wet, because you would. This is as deep as they get.
Yeah.
It's a symbolic representation. The water symbolizes death. Okay, cool. Until you've been immersed with a spirit from on high that comes to rest upon you and sup with you in the form of a dove in gentleness and begins to teach you, not just once to receive the baptism of the Holy Spirit, but continually the spirits are coming to you, baptizing you with multiple baptisms. The scripture says, be being filled with the Spirit, not just once. Because once you get spirits out of you, now you got more room to inhale and breathe deeply and be taught deeper by the spirits that are beyond them. And when I say spirits, you could say angels. It doesn't, like, this is the terminology, saints, because those are just general terms, but then you find out they have names and they have orders, just as Jesus had a name and had an order. He experienced this by those who came before him, the same anointing, the same concepts that he embodied, and then he walked out. Jesus is fulfilling the prayers of King David. King David's, my God, why have you forsaken? Jesus echoed David, like what, hundreds of years before. And he echoed somebody who came before him. And you know what? So forth, so on, this, that, and the third. It's continued. These are cycles. So that's why this makes sense. So that's why you can share it for somebody and it's going to be an on-time word, because people are experiencing this, going through these cycles with us. We're all going through it, but we've been taught to interpret it a certain way. And that only lasted us so long. And the people who taught us to interpret it, they didn't understand it. They were pretending. It was simply symbolic to them until Sage was, look at me, and the spirits scream and leave just from a bundle of sage in the authority of somebody looking at the spirit. They can see the spirit on you. You feel the spirit. It's initiation. It's you now you're in a deeper relationship with sage and with ayahuasca and with everything. Now you salute. Now you walk lightly. Now you're careful. How did I open myself up? So you were talking about those videos, all the Christian scary videos. That's why, like, people make it out and then they're like, don't go back. It's very scary there. So now everything becomes demonic. And now they would throw the baby out with the bathwater. I was burning sage. I was using crystals. Crystals are demonic. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Crystals are demonic. Like, they're in the kingdom of heaven. Revelations 21 says that the new Jerusalem that will descend out of heaven, each level, each foundation is governed by a crystal, is made out of crystals. The Levite priest had the breastplate of righteousness that they wore, had 12 stones on it, 12 crystals that weren't just beautiful. They weren't just there for looks they weren't just symbolic. No, no, no. Get a bunch of crystals and put a bunch of crystals in your room and sleep with them next to your bed and wake up tomorrow and say they're simply symbolic. There's people got to get up and get them out of the room because they're so loud. There's so much energy that awakens you, or certain ones that help you sleep. Same thing. So that's what we're just, in this together, just to give these things a second look. And from a Christian perspective, a biblical perspective, we're still madly in love with Jesus. We still sing worship songs, out of key. You know what I'm saying? To God, telling him how much we love him. We still weep when we feel his spirit every morning, every moment. So the people that are trying to kick these people out, the gay guy and the people who are different, no. That's the ones who Christ came for, is the ones that the church rejected. And those are the ones who are now initiated into a deeper part of his bosom. They're held in his arms because everyone else rejected him. They're a great candidate to see an aspect of Jesus that the others are locked out of.
Thank you. Very cool. What the last thing you just said there kind of brings me to something that you guys spoke about in one of your videos recently. And just give me a second here. Ah, yeah. So a theme that you were talking about in your video was the restoration for things that nobody else wanted, and existing in a space where people can bring things they feel they can't carry, allowing the land, Christ, the higher perspective to welcome these things, showing attention and value to what no one else cares about. So would either of you love to jump in about, more of that and what that's meant for you, even at your recent ceremony? Because I know there's a lot there.
Well, it really was an integral part of the ceremony for us to kind of be initiated, like you said, into the sage and into the things that help people lift these spirits off of them and lift these things off that they're carrying. And because it was so profoundly powerful for us, it's something that we feel called to do, to help people transmute these energies, to turn them into something helpful, or to get rid of them, to give them back to the earth, to give them to the fire and let the fire change the energy. There are many ways to do it, but it's easy when you go through something and you come out on the other side. It's like an immediate spark of compassion for people who are dealing with the same thing. So I think that's a part of what happened to us, that it helped us so much. And so we want to study and learn as much as we can and use these things to help other people. And we know what it's like to be unwanted and thrown out and hated upon and called names and left out and abandoned. Like, that's us. That's us. So
Yeah.
we want those people in our circle.
Yeah. And them spirits. Mm-hmm. Like everything, like you was a home for them spirits. Them spirits found a place. You had a room open. You had vacancy, and 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 you were cooking what they eat, and they showed up. And that's how everything works. Not just spirits works. How we work.
Yeah.
The neighbor's cooking something. Man, listen, hey, I'm hungry. You cooking my favorite meal? My God, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna keep walking by every day, hoping you're gonna invite me in. You know, shoot, that's how it is, man. I mean, that's how the animals are. I always give that analogy with animals and throwing out your trash or your food outside of your window. There's a window behind us, and if I open that window up and threw out my scrapes of food that I didn't eat, when the sun goes down, there's going to be nocturnal beings who come out at night in the dark and they eat the things that we don't want.
Mm-hmm.
They're created for that purpose, and that we don't dishonor them anymore.
Yeah.
We salute them. We honor. I want them on my team too. Like, hey, listen, I'm gonna put it by the road. I'm gonna put it here. Don't come in my house and get it. You're not welcome in the house. You stay outside. But we're cool. We have a mutual agreement. I don't want you coming messing with me, right? I know I'm not afraid of you or whatever the case is. Like animals, yeah. Demons, yeah. Demons serve a purpose. Like spirits serve a purpose, and they show up to fulfill that purpose, and they do what they're created to do. They're called by their name. All spirits do. And if they do the opposite of that, then there's consequences that they have to pay. So everything is done in decency and order. Um, and I would say the ayahuasca for us um, was a deeper revelation of the nighttime orders and the nighttime watches that the Bible speaks about so much, of what goes on at night, that we have ritualistically stayed up and prayed through the night with church groups, and they call it the watches. It's not the same. It's not the same. Certain days, certain hours to be aware of what changes when the clock strikes 3 in the morning. There's certain things that are now coming to you. Your nightmares shift, your dreams shift. What God is, if you stay up all night tonight, God will sit there and talk with you like he does with a friend on these days. All of this stuff is in the night watches on certain days. So we only want to be, you know, in what's comfortable or good, but we have to salute all of them and what they teach. And even if the teaching is just to know that, hey, I don't want to partake of that. I know who you are, I know what you do. Stay away from me. If that's the very least, cool. At least you know, because now you know what to do. You can't just say one thing and do another. You can't just say, hey, stay away from me. I don't want you. But then your actions, you deny me. You deny your words. Like you're drawing them with your life.
Mm.
You keep throwing food out the window. They're showing up like clockwork every night. They're gonna come eat. The raccoons are coming. Man, we used to do that all the time in the country. Put bread outside by the door. And literally all the raccoons, they come and get the bread.
Mhm.
When we're up camping, they come and get the pizza and stuff. Like they,
Yeah.
man, like the raccoons and bears, all types of nocturnal beings that see in the dark. You can't see in the dark. They can. And that's what they're programmed to do. And we, convert them to the light or whatever. No, that'll blind them. Like they have a purpose. And the purpose is to clean up the trash because you don't want that bread. You proved it. You threw it out. It got hard very quick, and so he comes to clean it up. Salute them. Just say thank you. And to all the animals, to all of God's creatures.
And it's a beautiful thing to learn how to salute the darkness and the things that you once saw as bad, to see the purpose. Like even fear serves a purpose. If you're afraid of heights, you're not going to get close to the edge of a cliff. But when you're creating so much fear and so much food for these beings and these spirits, it'll be torment, and then it's not helpful anymore. So it's beneficial to be able to salute those things and thank them for serving you, but to know when to let it go when it's not of service anymore.
Yeah, many things. God takes our brokenness. He don't throw them away. You know, he takes the things we don't need anymore. This realm, really every realm, is about recycling. That's what a cycle is when you do a cycle again, you recycle it, you find a home for it, you find a place, you rehome it. Nothing is destroyed. Nothing. You find a use for it. Evil spirits, good spirits, angels, old clothing. It doesn't matter. You find there's someone that one man's trash is another man's treasure. So just walk with your eyes open and just look around. You know, it'll help you become more appreciative, and it'll help you be a cheerful giver and to not be afraid of the things that come, to take certain things that you're um, giving them and what time they come. And if you don't want them to come, don't, you know, bad company corrupts good character. Like they're coming. Good company attracts good character. Good character. Like your language will change. And I think that for for us and for many of us, most people aren't there yet. That's why this stuff sounds shocking. You have to be one who walks the middle passage, the narrow ground. It's not all one and none of the other. You have to know good and evil. Like the scriptures talks about, like that we'll get the law and we'll be tried and we'll be tested in our hearts, so we'll know good from evil, so that we can choose good and choose evil, even during the nighttime, right? Um, and to be at peace with everyone, be at peace with ourselves and our darkness,
Mm.
you know. And that's a process. It's very hard. It's a lifetime. Still not there. You know what I'm saying? We're just aware of it, and it's beautiful. And I can say it now. And I'm welcomed into another. It's another initiation that I was locked out of. That I demonized everything, and she demonized everything. Uncomfortable. Like that was her story.
Yeah.
Breathwork, stupid. Like not like I don't want to breathe heavy like that. I feel dizzy, like I'm going to pass out. It's not fun. We're like, yeah, get high on the breath. No, I don't. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Like, I don't want to be high. I
And
want to be in total control.
yeah.
Total control.
And so she was locked out. She didn't know what it felt like. And it was fine for her where she was. Like everyone doesn't have to do it, but she had no idea this beauty and bliss that we were experiencing through breath work
Yeah.
until she was initiated and needed change and needed to get some needed to breathe deeply. She needed the Holy Spirit to go
Yeah.
down deep and do a deep work in her.
I needed a new breath for sure. And it came with the cacao at the same time. And I had done cacao before. And I felt the heart opening process, but the same dose this time combined with, I don't know if it was the breath work itself or just my willingness to surrender, because I finally got to a point where I didn't want to control anymore. I was just done. Like, I can't, I'm failing. This is not working. I need God to show up. And when I got to that place of desperation, I was totally initiated into all of it, the breath work, the cacao, new baptism. Like,
Yeah.
it was amazing. But I think the key was maybe the desperation and the surrender of control.
You don't need it until you do.
Yeah.
And that's how everybody is, you know. It's
Arien,
consciousness.
can you, oh, sorry. Arien, can
You're
you
good.
share a little bit about, you touched on before leaning into the breath work and some of these practices and how uncomfortable it was. Can you just share a little bit about that whole progression?
Yes. So unknowingly, I had trauma. I had trauma stored in my body from experiences when I was a teenager, some really dark things that I just were too uncomfortable to feel. So I buried it. And it's very strange that I didn't even have memory. Like, there's so much of my memory was just erased. I couldn't even remember a lot of stuff around those years of my life. And thought, just thought, I'm over it. It's okay, and go on with my life for years and years. But then I'm interested in these practices like taking a cold shower or a cold plunge, because I know it's so good for the immune system. It's great for the body. It makes you feel awake. It's good for your body to um, process the unhealthy fats out of your body and create the good kind. And I'd done all this research and wanted to do it so badly. But every time I tried to get in the cold shower, it was like daggers. And I see people all the time and all my friends and everyone saying, you got to try it. It's great. It's amazing. I do it every day. I'm like, every day in the winter, you're taking a cold shower, and I can't, in the summer, I can't get in. Like, something's wrong with me. And then I finally tried it again, and I never could get my breath under control. I just would start like panic, hyperventilating, that type of breath, and I couldn't calm it down. And I sucked water down my windpipe, and I finally just gave up after that. I was like, this is literally going to kill me. It's not good for me. I can't do it. It's too uncomfortable. And other things, including the breath work, it felt uncomfortable. It made me feel dizzy and lightheaded, and I didn't like it. It just, anything uncomfortable, I couldn't fathom doing it. And once I had the healing experience through the breath work and the cacao, God showed me intuitively and just from my experience that it was all the stuff that I had stored in my body, that I was already so uncomfortable from that whenever I would try to push myself into discomfort, it's like all of that stuff recoiled and was screaming like, we're already in too much pain. We can't take anything else. But I never put two and two together, that I had all this stuff, unprocessed trauma and unprocessed grief in my life, that I was just so uncomfortable that pushing myself in any direction aside from seeking comfort was impossible for me. But then after the healing experience, and I kind of, we're getting those messages like, this is why you can't do anything uncomfortable, because of all the stuff you've been carrying. I just tried it at home. I thought, I'm just going to try to take a cold shower. And I put it all the way on the cold and stepped right in, and it was easy. And I remembered how it felt before, that it was impossible. I could not get in there, and now it's easy. So that just confirmed what I had kind of learned, and I've started reading a bunch of books and studying about trauma, and it seems to line up with it.
Holy Spirit, the sacred breath. We've been symbolically doing it in church for years, but there is something sacred about the breath,
Mm-hmm.
Which actually, now you're saying about the breath, I wanted to ask you, you said in another video, the transmutation of darkness into light is light of the supreme light. And you've been helping other people over the years to release entities, negative energies, breathing in spirits and breathing out spirits. So just very intuitively, but also, a shamanic practice. Can you talk a little bit about this, and also from a biblical perspective?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that quote with me. That's I forgot about it. That was from Hermes Trismegistus and the Book of Thoth. Really good book for sure. Yeah, but that sticking out of that book when we was reading that just a couple weeks ago. I read it again, but we listened to the audiobook together, and super good. Everything has a depth of meaning, you live life and then go back to it, and different things stick out to you. So for that one, that quote was just amazing because, what that means, light of the supreme light, is that God is light, and in him, in it, there is no darkness. But there are many other lights, right? But where do they get their light? They get their light, their energy from the supreme light, which is what we call God. But there are so many other lights and luminaries and stars, and you know anywhere there's light, anywhere there's illumination. So we see that reiterated through the scripture, which is amazing. Even today, our deep study, our studies are just insane, you know, today. But the luminaries came up, the rays of the sun, the rays
Mm-hmm.
of the stars, how they speak and carry information. Um, it's really the poetic form and the law um, of what most of us are experiencing anyway. But that there's something that is a schoolmaster that lets you know you're on the right path. If you can't look around and see, like, no matter what you look around at, it'll show you, right? Nothing has all of it. Like, it's like I can say, hey, read, Hermes Trismegistus, read the Book of Thoth. Somebody can read it and it's a dead book to them. They're like, yeah, that's strange, weird, esoteric. You do the same thing with the Bible. But I'm definitely echoing and championing, everybody read your Bibles now. Like, ask God to show you. Like, they lied to us. God, like right now in the awakening, like, read and act like it's your first time reading it, and be retaught, and you'll begin to have words to put to what you're experiencing. I guarantee it. So that's part of that transmutation, and even me trying to tell people to go back to, what do you mean I'll never go back? Those people were crazy. Those people are mean. Like, they tried to kill me. Jesus is this. No, go back to it. Give that a second thing, the thing that you know, judged or whatever. Now you're doing to other Christians or to God or the Bible or whatever what they did to you. Everybody has their own path. Get them, get it right. Like, because everything is speaking that gospel. And that is the light of the supreme light. That it doesn't matter where you are, if there's light in it, you can see. It doesn't matter who is light. I don't care if it's Krishna. If he's speaking truth, it's light in it. And he is. It doesn't matter if it's like, I don't care whoever, just name a name. If they have a good day where they love their family and pet their dog and get and help the needy, man, listen, there's light in them. It doesn't matter. And so you being able to salute the light and the darkness, no matter by what means it comes, that's transmutation, especially when you were demonizing it, especially when, the scripture says that what the enemy meant for your harm, God will in turn use for your good. That's truth. That's everlasting. Like, and there's so many things that come back to bless us if we'll let it. So in the transmutation process, it definitely goes into the darkness thing, coming back into relationship with it, seeing how it works, and not trying to destroy it, because there is no destroying it. There is no destroying it. It's finding another use for it. Find another use for it. Use the same thing they tried to use against you. I'm gonna use the same Bible y'all are out here hurting people with. Watch what happens when I open the Bible. Watch what happens when Amanda opens the Bible. Watch what happens when these people read and God speaks to them and shows them clarity for stuff that's been hidden from the world. Nobody knows this stuff. God is sharing with his children. We've been going around calling the children of Satan God's children, and because they've been reading the Bible to us. Nah, open your Bible, man. Ask God to speak to you. Ask God to show you. He'll do it with the Bible. He'll do it with everything that you look at, simply because you're looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Two people look at the same thing, see something totally different. And then both are true. Both are true. My experience, those people tried to kill me. Those people said I was this on the beat. Well, that's my father, and he's been a good dude to me. Like, I don't know that. I haven't seen him in that light. Both are true. Your father's good and bad, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know them that way until you're in relationship with it. So once you are illuminated with the light of your understanding has been touched, which is what Christ is, it doesn't matter where you go. We brought Jesus to the ayahuasca ceremony. Like, he was there. Like, is Jesus here? He's there because you're there, and he's in you, and he's with you. He wasn't there, but now he is. Like, he's everywhere you go. And like, we're like looking to try to test the waters to see if Jesus wouldn't be out in the middle of the ocean. Wake up in the middle of the night and look out, and Jesus is walking on the water. Hey, if he can do it, I can do it. And that's what he's calling us to do. Not just us, everyone, man. This is what we've been waiting for. We're in it. The thing that was coming is now here.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. You're in denial if you disagree. All the stuff we all went through together, and people got amnesia and forgot what happened to us. And come on, man. Come on. This ain't real life. There's something deeper is going on behind the scenes, and you gotta pretend or drink it away, or drug it away, or sleep it away, or video game it away, whatever, to pretend that there's something spiritual isn't going on, something eternal isn't going on. We're connected to that. That's our friend. They're our friends.
Mm-hmm.
So make peace with that light. Make peace with it in the day and in the night. What else is there to do? Somebody listening to this podcast, they're on the bus. They are that light. It's in them. It's resonating with them. It's led them this far. Hasn't given up on them yet. It won't. What happens is we fan the flame that's within us, and it just gets brighter. It looked like it went out, but that spark was still there. And we give God something to work with, He can reignite those passions. He can reignite love, romance back into your life, reignite marriages that were going out. Man, listen, give you another chance at life, let you breathe deeper again. But you can't breathe deeply because your lungs is jacked up. You could breathe deep and bust them things back open. Listen, God, He can do, man, just let Him do it. Believe that nothing is impossible, and it won't be. All things are possible to them that believe, and it just so happens to be we believe those things that
Mm-hmm.
they were reading we're reading in the Bible, and now we're experiencing many more in a different level and light. Again, not to put ourselves on a pedestal because other people are too. That's why this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it makes sense. And I haven't even been teaching any of this. Like I'm trying to teach it. We've just been sharing. I feel like I can get more, I could say a lot, which I know to slow down and teach it, but it needs to be done. And we're working on that too.
Yeah.
Because I got scriptures and Bible verses galore
Books.
for
You've
all of
probably got
for
books
all of
worth.
this stuff. I would never believe, you know, one thing because of an experience or if it's not in the scripture. What happens is you experience life and you experience it, and now you see it every time it's in scripture, and you can't unsee it, but it's hidden from everybody else. That's the kingdom of heaven. It's the invisible kingdom we're a part of.
It's not only scripture, but every book and
Yeah.
every movie and in nature, and it just backs it up everywhere you go.
Mm.
It's a confirmation.
And so that we were before we started recording, you were asking about the Greek gods and stuff. You heard me mention them. That they tie into that. They tie into the plants. They tie into the personification of their stories, which tie into the Bible. They everything ties together. People get mad that we're mixing. I get that comment a lot. Truthseekah, you're
Okay.
mixing paganism and Christianity. You're mixing. Do you know Christianity? Have you done the research on our holidays? Have you done? You haven't. Okay. But you got to make an excuse why, because they have. Okay, I have. And that's not what it means. And no. It's already mixed. That's why we're in this situation to begin with, because it's already mixed. How you're confusing people, Truthseekah. Look around. People are already confused. Don't give me that credit. People are already confused, clinging to hope, clinging to lies. We're in this together. There's no finger pointing. I'm me. As you figure out what's working and what's bringing forth the fruits of love and peace in your life and helping you to maintain in these crazy times that we're in, man, share it with people. Care who, how you got it, where it's at. You know, that's saluting. That's being able to see, what's bringing comfort to people. And for me, this is what comforts me. God, peace, love, joy, in every as close as your next breath. You didn't have to go to church. We get to go to church if you so desire, but you are the church even more than going somewhere to a building. We have to relearn this stuff because they used it against us. And I'll just share little snippets and they go viral, man. But because it's true, it's true. It's the simplicities. Just repeat the things they told us, and just the things that don't make sense. Give it a second glance now. You may look at it in a new light, a different light.
Especially if it's something that someone else told you, not from something that you your own, like he was saying earlier, Jesus is not a positive thing. When some people hear Jesus, it's not good at all. It represents
Yeah.
trauma and torture and hatred to them. But to us, he's life and love and everything. And
Yeah, and both are true. Like they're right. In their reality, he is that to them, like it's not his fault though. It's somebody else's fault.
it's a misrepresentation. It's the same for church. Some churches are full of healing and life and light, and then some are full of condemnation.
They mess it up for the rest.
It's all about your perspective and your personal relationship with the word and with the person and with the thing. So you give it a second look. Ask some questions.
We're in exciting times. Not enough hours in the day. It really isn't.
And you said about the fruit, and Jesus said something like, by their fruit you will know them. And I've had some religious people say things to me about same thing. You're mixing this and you're mixing that. Just talking about like the Greek gods, for example. And when we start to remember, and people are remembering more and more every day, it's so exciting, whether it's through meditation or prayer or ceremony, whatever, starting to remember our long history. So I don't know about you guys, but things like the Greek gods, like the the um, the figures from the zodiac. I was in an ayahuasca ceremony one time, and I'd never been interested in astrology at all. And I'd known from Truthseekah's work a little bit about, yeah, a little bit about how it's been mentioned and kind of weaved in incognito in the Bible. But the I could see the sky, I could see the stars, and suddenly these little lines faintly started to show up in between stars. And I was like, oh, I'm looking at the zodiac. But then from there, it actually turned into beings that were looking at me, like actual beings. And it wasn't just like, oh, a vision. Oh, this is interesting. Not only were they alive and sentient and present, I could remember the times on Earth when we walked this planet and we could see this stuff easily. Some of us could see this stuff easily. These are guiding forces, and they've had, different names, different roles, different ways of interacting with humans, subtle or intense over the years. But we can't separate. We've already separated ourselves, man from woman and race from race and all this stuff. It's time to kind of bring it together and understand it. But it's rocky. So yeah, back to transformation and the ceremony. You guys brought up a couple, well, more than a few ways that born again, of being born again, has been going on. And Derek, you talked about alcohol and the power of these ceremonial rituals to set us free if we're using our attention and we're in alignment. Can you guys talk a little bit about that and what's changed since that time?
Well,
Sure.
you could, yeah, you can introduce the other, what she mentioned too. So. From your perspective.
You go first.
Yeah. Just feeling deeply, being present. That's one thing that all the medicines tell you. Be present, be thankful, be in the moment, kind of thing. So that was a big part of my healing and my healing journey from the mother as well. And really to see the mother, to see a new aspect of her, um, that I got to see from the ayahuasca ceremony, the death, the process of death that is most of us are afraid of, what's going to happen to your body. Most Christians I know think they're taking their body with them to heaven. They really do. They've convinced themselves of that because they haven't done ayahuasca. For real. They haven't had a rite of passage. We're not given that in the States. There is no rite of passage. There isn't, like, I was even thinking about baptism a while ago when I mentioned it. Like, there was some sects of early Christians. So in like this baptismal initiation, they hold them underwater until they like almost drowned. Where they're like, you're going through a near-death experience, and you're going to be thankful for the next breath that you take and the next breath that you breathe. The Holy Spirit's going to enter you because I'm getting all of the bad stuff out of you. And when you come up, you're going to, like, these are rites of passages that we're going through, and we're not given that, So that's a reason why we're afraid of death. There's a reason why we don't have nothing to cope with within us. It's not tangible. We have things outside of us that help us, and that become crutches because they're not. You can't sustain it. You can't sustain a life of alcohol addiction to help you with your problems. They can and they do. So like, guess what? Man, listen, I'm not finna demonize alcohol. Salute. Man, thank you for what you do. You helped a lot of people, but you hurt many more. Just is what it is. And did both with me. We have awesome memories drinking and having wine with dinner. Oh, those are the best. I miss those the most.
Yeah.
But they're not worth, the other stuff that can creep up on you and help you to feel and help you to not I'm having a bad day, drink a little bit, and I got to where I was um doing it more than I needed to. And in my head, like I didn't see myself as an alcoholic or anything like that. I did when I was the only one drinking and I was the only one having a drink. So it wasn't like getting, you know, because I grew up around real deal alcoholics. They're gonna drink like real deal. So then you judge yourself amongst, well, I'm not like him. I'm not like them.
Yeah.
But you want to have, hey, it's Friday. You guys want to have fun? Yeah. Drink and hang out and make a fire. Cool. We love it. It's fun. But then Saturday, hey, the wife and kids are going to the thing. Okay, the guys are gonna come over. We're gonna drink. What time y'all drinking? 11:25. It's like then it begin to be habitual and by yourself when the guy. And so these are excuses. There's guys are over because guess what? Now it's an excuse to have the guys over. Now it's an excuse for everybody to gather to drink and for us to all come together and mourn together, try to feel together, whatever it is that we're going through, because it helps you do that. But it also, you have to, it's not free.
No.
You have to pay for that. You'll see what I'm talking about tomorrow morning. You had a great time. You were silly. Everybody had fun. Tomorrow morning, you pay for that. Your brain ain't functioning right. Your breathing ain't on point. You're breathing heavy in the night. Your body's not functioning like you got pain in your body. Now you got it turns into sugar. You got to pay. It's not free. Everything costs. So there's a way for us to give and take a natural process that those feelings are legit. Family, fun, dealing with hard stuff together. Those are real things. Like they cost, but it's the long-term investment. It's not it's not the short-term gratitude. I mean, not gratitude.
Gratification.
Short-term gratification, quick gratification. Like I don't feel good. I can just drink this and I'm okay. Instantly, I forgot that I got fired. I forgot that,
Right.
whatever. This is the world. This ain't just me. This is the world that we're all doing this. And
But if you're forgetting the bad things, you're gonna forget some of the good things too.
mhm.
It's balance.
Well, you drink to forget. You drink to remember. You drink to have fun. You drink to wake up. You drink to go to sleep, or take a pill, or whatever you do. And for me, it was an addiction for sure. When you're sneaking beers, sneaking a shot with the fellas, maybe that's silly. Maybe that's fun. It's other people. It's like it's not just me. So it's like you can blame somebody else. I can blame my dad. I could blame my dad not being there. I can blame my wife giving me a hard time. You could blame everything, anything other than yourself. And that's what we've been doing. And it's just about taking responsibility and becoming the person that you want, that is deep down in there, that has been suppressed, that you've been pouring poison on. And it hurts the little younger version of yourself, the little innocence that's still in you, the creativity that's still in you. It's in everybody. It is in the old full-fledged drunk. It is in the old man like who lost his family. It's in the birds outside of our window
Yeah.
that lost their family. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, you can hear it. And in their mourning, everyone is, and we're pretending that we're not. And ayahuasca helped me just to put things in perspective and to quit being selfish. because she's not selfish. She gladly took my shit. Gladly. I'll make use of that. Give me your alcohol addiction. I'll take it if you let me. I'll take your trauma if you let me. Everything you don't want, I'll take it. What about the things I want? You can keep it. What? I can keep all the, yeah, you can keep that. All the bad stuff, I'll take it. So now, yeah, I have a deeper appreciation, not just for all the women in my life, worldwide. Like, I see you in a new light. It is the light from the Father, the supreme light. Transformation, transfiguration, alchemical. It's a new light. I was blinded by the light. At first, I couldn't see it. But, and I don't see it clearly. I would be a fool to claim I do. But going through the night and being kept safe, being taken through the watches of hell and my hell and the watches of the night and being able to make it through and being protected, how she held me and protected me, how my wife was there protecting me. I got a deeper appreciation for all the women in my life that shoot. Uh, I'm not only gonna say that you're not getting from church, but it's one of the reasons why people aren't going to church, because they understand that the church has been an active proponent on the patriarchy and taking the goddess out, removing the feminine that's rising, that's crying out right now, and she's in the Bible. She's everywhere. You doesn't matter where you look. You have the positive and negative in everything. Both particles exist. The two come together and create something new and beautiful. You can't have one without the other. So for me, that was a huge part of the journey. And I don't know how many days sober. It's even weird to say. It's kind of embarrassing to say it like that, but it's the truth. Like,
Yeah.
I did it. There was, yeah. I'm over 100 days, like way over 100 days now.
I'm really proud. I don't know. I just, when it's like you said, when you make those choices and choose not to feel and feel your way through it and bury it, whether it's alcohol or scrolling on TikTok or whatever it is to take your attention away from it. I mean, those feelings are there to draw attention to it.
I'm seeing memes now on TikTok that I didn't even know it was a thing. It's called doom scrolling, and it's connected to the wife.
Oh.
The wife doom scrolling while her husband's, playing a game or doing something without her. There's memes on it where they're mocking it because it's a thing. It's
Really?
enough. A meme is enough people, have seen it that it becomes a repetition. Yeah.
Doom scrolling.
Yeah, they call it doom scroll. I had no idea. She was telling me about it. Like, I like, it's everything in moderation, if you can. But yeah.
Yeah. One of my revelations was that I was not investing my time. Time is our most precious commodity. It's all we have. It's our currency. And whenever I was going through all of my pain and grief and I didn't know how to process it, and I would just pretend it wasn't there and bury it like I was so good at doing for so long, I would scroll on TikTok. And like he would always invite me to come in and be a part of the community, and I just didn't, it hadn't clicked yet. Like I didn't like people. I didn't feel like going and having to put like a face on, which I don't now. I mean, I just kind of show up. But then I was like, oh, no, I got to get made up. I've got to look a certain way. I'm going to have to act a certain way in front of these people. And anyway, so I just wouldn't come. I was invited. I was always welcomed and invited, but I just.
Well, she's talking about our weekly online gatherings with
Yeah.
Patreon and Seer School and stuff.
Which is our church. I mean, that's where we bounce ideas off of our church group and do little studies and stuff.
But I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
She's been supporting me while I do it. And I just come in here in my room to do my thing. and she does her thing.
which is usually doing some laundry and cleaning and
Doom scrolling.
doom scrolling. But yeah, Mama showed me, and ayahuasca showed me that I had invested like a year of my life, all of this time when I'm by myself and everything starts to creep up on you and those feelings come up. I would just get on TikTok or social media and scroll. And so I saw myself just scrolling on TikTok, wasting a year of my life, a whole year that I could have been doing some work. I could have been trying to seek healing. I could have been watching a movie with my daughter or coming in and studying with him or whatever. But she really showed me that time is a very precious commodity, and I was wasting so much of it doom scrolling on TikTok because I didn't want to feel and I didn't want to do the work because of the discomfort. Again, anything uncomfortable, I didn't want to look at it or deal with it. And yeah, so that's one of the things she was showing me. And TikTok is not evil. I'm not saying that at all, but it's your relationship with it. And for me, it was the shovel that put the dirt on top of all the stuff that I was burying that I shouldn't have been, you know? So for me, it was not good. And I don't get on there much anymore. Like if somebody sends me something, I'll look at it, but I don't scroll on there anymore because it got out of hand. But she showed me that and about time and our voices and why our voices are so important to share our stories with other people because it resonates. Like he said, our story is a story that's been told before and it'll be told again. Other people are going through the same thing, and it helps to know that you're not alone and that if you're the one in the midst of the doom scrolling and you see somebody who's come out of it and who's got healing and living an abundant life full of love,
Yeah,
it's possible and it can help people. And I saw some visions too. One that really stuck with me. We were all in this very beautiful space. It was an outdoor space, kind of like a porch area that was built in the midst of all these beautiful old trees. And they had these lights projected on the trees. So it was all this purple and blue and soft lighting around. And
I like this room.
yeah. And we're all out there and we all have our little areas and our blankies. And I could just see that we all had this light cord coming from our heart. Like each person had their cord that was coming up into the middle of the space and it twisted together and made like a giant tree trunk that went all the way to the heavens. And so it was like mother was beneath, father was in the heaven, and all of us are down here, but we're also intertwined with the tree of life that was reaching all the way to heaven. But it really helped me to see unity between all of the people from different walks of life, people who were there for many different reasons. The animals that were there, they were included in it. The tree was included in it. That we're all descended from one great divine spark. And we're all brothers and sisters. And that gave me a beautiful, profound appreciation for people, which that had already opened up for me, but it was a new revelation of it, that don't shy away from people. And the people who are mean and nasty, it's not them. They're projecting their pain, and I'm not saying you have to deal with abuse or anything, but just try not to blame the people.
Yeah, no alcohol. Well, there was alcohol since then. Like, I tried to return back to normal, you know. Like, hold on, we're trying to integrate, do normal things. She gets back, she's like, I'm done. It's like, have a couple beers, and we had a rough time. And you have your ways to justify it. Like, always playing the spiritual person. I want to be a regular person sometimes, and have a beer and watch television or something. And it was super, strong and stuff, and I was just like, this ain't it. And I saw how she was trying and how she had like her awakening. She just became a different person. And I knew I needed to do it to help her and help myself. You know, I had to do it for both of us. So the energy was perfect. So Mama Aya gives you the help that you need to do that. And we became vegetarians. Like, we've struggled with that in the past. We've kind of gone off and on, or she'd go for a little while, I'd go for a little while. It just, we couldn't do it so long, you know. And I got better to go for, you know, a couple months or something. And but yeah, it's a deeper level, you know. It's easy now. We see the people we want to become, which is the people, it's the voice that's within you speaking, the good voice, and try to become that, because the other voice will speak too once you try, tell you reasons why you can't. So we just identify that voice and nullify it, prove them wrong, which is just yourself proving to yourself that you can do it.
And,
Every
and even honoring that voice, because it's there for a reason too. Because if you tell you, don't try to do this, don't try to go viral and reach a bunch of people, and you're not good enough for that. Well, how can that be positive? Well, it could be positive because from a place that you've been before, that voice is trying to protect you from getting hurt, because maybe you put yourself out there and it didn't work and you got hurt. So just say, hey, thank you, but that's not needed. I'm good. I don't need you right now. So being able to even honor the negative voice and the tests and the trials, and it's all a part of the beautiful process.
that voice, you know, um, people echo it, and that's why it hurts, because they're embodying the comments and the hatred, or the, you know, lack of self-worth that's echoed through a person, through a family member. It could be a stranger. There's a reason why you can get on a YouTube video, get 1,000 amazing. You can probably go back and watch I'm sure you've done it. They tell you, don't read the YouTube comments. Be careful. The trolls are there. You can get 1,000 amazing comments. Oh my God, I'm in tears listening to Amanda's story, and you know, oh my God, this woman, I've experienced the same thing. I'm glad she shared. Like, all of these great things, and then one says, "Why does she look like that? Why is her bangs straight? I think her bangs are crooked. Do you see that? Does she cut her own bang?" And say something like, "Oh my God, are my bangs crooked? Oh my God," and it just, now you're insecure. Now you're wearing a hat. Yeah, it's like, why is the one bad thing the one that sticks out to you? Because it's echoing something that you've told yourself, that I'm ugly, and you know, whatever the case is, I am stupid or I am uneducated. You know, so once you have been conditioned and you go through it, there's nothing you can't tell me that I haven't already told myself. You know what I'm saying? So whatever, every scenario, I played them out in my head, you know. Um, but that's why they hurt. But eventually, you know, you get scar tissue or you get healing, and
You get identity.
there you go. I know who I am. You can't tell me who I am.
That's awesome, because sometimes people ask, they probably ask you guys too, like, oh, I'm having trouble. I think I need spiritual protection. I need a this or a that. What can I do? And of course, there's so many things that are available, but one thing that I don't hear about enough is the scar tissue, because when you've already gone through some of these things that you're the most triggered by, most scared of, or like the voice of your father that was, and you've re-gone through it and you're like, I'm actually okay. I'm still here at the end of the day. That is a huge protection, because the same guy could come around with his comments the next month and you don't even feel anything. It's like, okay, sure, you must be having a bad day. I'm moving on. So this kind of spiritual protection is like not something where you need to go and run and get your tools or whatever, say an incantation. It's like who you are, and it only comes with the hard work. You guys are
Or
saying.
experience. I wish there was a manual.
experience.
Yeah.
There's no manual on it. I wish there was for this. I mean, I say it's the Bible is the manual, but like you got to experience it to know it first. And usually it comes with the, that's what gnosis is, right? You
Yeah.
learn through experience and through relationship with, you know, such things. But then you start learning, you know, comments and stuff. You learn personas, and that's how I learned. I follow. It's like, hold on, you only show up to comment negative stuff. I post regular Christian good stuff all the time. It's crickets. Gets no play. I post something controversial and poke your buttons. I make you come. I demand your attention. You know what I'm saying? You have no self-control. So I'm really holding up a mirror to show you in the end. That's what I'm trying to do, and it works. And so their comments and ridicule hurts less um, when it comes from that online space kind of thing. It doesn't hurt less when it comes from people like that you know and friends or people you consider friends,
Yeah.
because that those word those words are they mean different things. Just like Christian means different things to different people. Oh, Christians mean you're Republican? No, I never said that. They're both demonic. I don't. None in either. You know, and the same thing with friends. That word friendship. You put yourself in a situation long enough with people, you'll find out. Like Jesus said, you know, you'll know a tree by its fruits. Just hang around them long enough, you'll see what fruit they produce. The word friendship don't mean the same thing.
Yeah.
The word I love you don't mean the same thing. You know, everything has its connotation with its person, like with each person, and including friendship, including what you are willing to do for somebody, that, and you assume they're willing to do it for you. There was no formal agreement on that. Did not sign a contract, and it hurts, but it's part of the process. It really is. Jesus knows best. His homie did it to him, and he wanted more than anything to bring him with him and give him anything he wanted, but he wanted it now. And not only did he want it now, he wanted what they had, jealousy, you know. So it's in your story, it's in your movie. It may not be called Judas. There's many names that there's. We were talking about the Matrix. It showed up as the guy who
Yeah.
wanted to eat steak in the Matrix. He was willing to sell everybody out just for another night on the town.
Yeah.
And any movie you watch, there's an antagonist, there's a villain. Your best friends sell you out. Part of it still doesn't make it any easier when it happens. But words mean different things to different people, and we probably should get clear on definitions.
Yeah.
Hold on, what do you mean by friend?
Yeah. What's your definition of Christian?
Frenemies.
Oh, yeah.
With friends like that, who needs enemies?
Frenemies.
Yeah, yeah, like God, I don't need no enemies. I got friends. Dang, y'all do that to your friends? I hate to see what you do to people you hate. I digress. Yeah, we go through it, you know, and I'm glad we have each other and God, because there's something in us, you know, to want to be accepted and be loved and have normalcy. But the path that we chose, you don't really, you don't really call for a lot of that. So we appreciate the times we do. We can pretend, you know, that everything's okay and stuff, but you know, what's understood doesn't have to be explained. You're the black sheep for a reason. Where somebody said the black sheep ends up becoming the goat.
Yeah.
You're the goat, the greatest. You're the one that you're the chosen one. The black sheep for a reason. There's a reason you don't fit in. That's part of the process. Like it's an initiation process. You have to be excommunicated and ran out of the city. Like, come on, this ain't nothing new. You ain't watched the movies? No, you ain't read the Bible, but you ain't watched the movies. What's that legal? Not Legally Blind, but Sweet Home Alabama. She left and then had to come back and show who she really was at the end of the
Yeah.
day. I'm still country, you know, like I'm just Miss Hollywood or Miss New York. Anyway, that's what it is, man. Your
Yeah.
true colors will come out. You still country.
Yeah, I think you can get to a place though where it still hurts when people act a certain way, but like you said about the comment, like, oh, well, he must have been having a bad day. You kind of get to see people reacting out of their own pain and their own something that they're mirroring. And you can have compassion for them, anyways.
Yeah, it's a fine line. It really is.
Yeah.
It's about forgiveness, you know. Let people vent, let them be themselves, even if they are giving you mixed fruit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you probably gave that to somebody too, or are giving it to somebody. Just is what it is. But
100%. I remember being a teenager and being really hardcore into the youth group. And when someone would kind of like leave the group or go on their own path, people would say, well, we're praying for you. And I was one of those people that said stuff like that. And then when I get a comment like that, or someone from maybe my extended family kind of said something like that, I know that I needed to, what I gave out, I needed to take.
baby, you were prepared
So
for it.
yeah,
It's karma. They don't
it's
believe
karma.
the Christians don't believe in karma, but that is karma because you did it,
Yeah,
and now you're like, hey, I see how it feels. God, you're very funny. You know,
awesome. Well, I guess one more question. A lot of people who watch these videos, channels like this, they are highly sensitive people who feel big things and yeah, sometimes feel like they're just kind of swimming and drowning in feelings. And I know that you guys understand that path very well. Is there any is there any words of empowerment, remembering, encouragement that you want to share with any of the highly sensitive people and empaths watching?
So I would say if you're an empath and you absorb those things from other people willingly or unwillingly, sometimes it happens without us initiating anything. Um, it's a good thing because you are a clean and safe space. And those things seek out a cleared space. So you're doing something right, but it can be a hard path to walk. Um, you have to be intentional everywhere you go and pay attention because everywhere we go now, with our new appreciation for the process, we can literally see the spiritual movements in people's body, and these spirits are jumping on us from across the grocery store or the next aisle over at the concert, or it's very bizarre. But it's a gift. It's a gift to be able to help people in that way, even with them even not knowing it, why they walked past you and then,
yeah,
felt immediate release and felt better. They have no idea it even had anything to do with you. But it's very important to keep that space clear, to clear it afterwards.
yeah,
So when you feel those energies, you've got to pass them through to something else. You got to move them along or sit in the sunlight and let them transform into light of the light. Let it go back to where it came from. Let it change into something beautiful. Sit on the earth. Let your root chakra bind to the earth and let it just let mama absorb it. She's good at it. It's not a slap in the face to take the bad stuff. She loves it.
mm-hmm.
She loves taking that and turning death into life. It's her job, and she's good at it. And there are other tools like we were saying, fumigation with incense or the plants that grow in your yard. Do a little bit of research and see what the weeds are, if any of them are good at clearing energies, and honor them with intention. Harvest them, use them. Use the holy resins, frankincense, pine, copal. You can burn those and fumigate with the smoke. And it's taking a shower, moving water clears those energies off of you.
Sitting by it, not even being in it, right?
You can feel it when you're sitting by a stream or a waterfall. Like it's like all of the ions and the electrons, you can just feel them passing around your body and doing that clearing work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, boundaries and cleansing and knowing that you're an empath and you feel deeply. You know, most of the things that we think we have going on with ourselves, they're not ours. We picked it up somewhere. I mean, what is yours that you didn't pick up? Name one thing in here that you, in your room, in your house, in your life, that you came from you. You channeled it, or somebody channeled it for you. Somebody created it. Now you got it. Now it's an identity. Somebody else named you. Like when it's sovereignty of the who am I think it goes back to what you were saying. Who was I before? Who was I before? And if you listen, and if you shut up long enough, it's hard for me to do. Lots to say. You can hear. You hear it speaking within. And it wants to come out. It's the true you that's been buried and suppressed. But do things to let it come out. It doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter. Every day is new. Every moment, every breath is new. Every inhale, there's newness of life. Every exhale, there's death. There's release. The things that aren't serving you any longer, and that just becomes a natural part of life. And let it pass. Feel it. It's real. Let it pass. Let it go to places and do no harm. Put it in the soil. Put it in the fire. Find a plate, like carry it, whatever you feel. But being able to cleanse yourself, because it's part of it. The transference of energy, and we are the ones who are a part of the process of spiritual alchemy. And we don't understand. The greatest among us don't understand. That's how beautiful and how spiritual and how intricate it is. So when we can try to understand just a little bit and salute it and honor the process, it'll honor you. That's what we found out.
And none of us have it all. We all have a little piece. So it's important that when you get that little piece that works for you, to share it with other people. Because if we can get this wealth of knowledge going in this movement for people, it'll be great that we all have so many tools and things that we didn't channel ourselves, but we share it with other people. And that exchange, it's what the church is meant to be. The body of Christ. All function together, but different functions.
Oh, actually, that just makes me do one more. A lot of people feel like they need to get to a certain point to be good enough, perfect enough, healed enough in order to come out with their message, with their art, with their music. And what would you say to people who have been on the path for a while and have this stuff brewing inside of them, but they're waiting until they're like, I don't know, 50? Like, do you have a message for those people?
Yeah, I would say you're never ready, and you're always ready. Because it's this thing that we've noticed, and many creatives notice this too. You keep pushing the goalpost back further and further. We host online courses and stuff like that, and I've been able to get people to sign up and give you everything that worked for me. The Bible says that God is not a respecter of persons. There's no reason why something worked for me and it won't work for somebody else. The system works if you work it. So it's why there's systems in place. And I've seen people come and sign up and like everything's there. Okay, I just signed up for so and so's course. It's like an 8-week course, expensive. All it's like I'm giving you everything I got. Like I'm committing myself to you. Okay, I'm taking so and so's course next, and then so and so's course, and you watch, and it's like, oh wow, there's the cycle to keep pushing it back and back. So you're trying to get healed, trying to get to the place, and you find out that it never comes. Just use what you have. Use what you've been given right now. Because you have so many tools. You have so many things within your grasp right now. I do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We've always done. Everybody does it. And it's the ego. It's the voice. That's the voice too. It sounds a little different though. Because it tries to mimic a friend of like good intentions. Oh yeah, we're gonna start when we need a new computer. Because the computer we have now isn't gonna work. Your computer will work. You're using your phone. Phone's working great. People, like use what you got. Because really what happens is you don't need the other things. Because you're showing the universe, you're showing God, you're not going to use it. Until you master the phone, you don't need I want an expensive camera. Like you don't need one. There's people who got way more followers, way more influence by just opening that phone and sharing what's on their heart.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of people come from all over the world to listen to them speak. Just open that phone and connect with whatever message you have. Hate, there's people, hatred and political and all kind of stuff. They find your tribe, and you'll find out that it's a lot of people who feel exactly like you, who need what you have. Not in 6 months, not when you get your computer, when you get the old phone. What's your iPhone you got, dear? 11, the old one.
It's
Use
not
that
that
one.
old, but yeah, it's
It's
pretty
not the
old.
new one.
No.
It's the older one. It's about 5 years old. Some of it 4 years old. Something. Use what you got, and then I'll get you a new one. I'm joking, but I'm telling you, that's how it is. Because what happens is you get the stuff and you still don't use it. You take the course, and it wasn't good enough. You got to get the next course. Okay. Yeah, I know dudes that go to healers. It's so weird. They book sessions with people, and they've already got it in their head that none of these people can help me. It's so strange that they still do it. Maybe it's a form of ASMR. Maybe it's a form of I told you so. I don't know. But they'll book sessions with people, and they'll book with me and they'll tell me. So it's like, okay, let's do the session, you know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. And they can
Doesn't
say,
work.
I booked 70 healers, brother. 70 healers, and none of them. That's a badge, bro.
What's the common denominator then?
The healers, for real. It's the healers. Or mine is too different. It's all
Like you were the one there every single time. Every 70 sessions, like you're the common denominator.
the system works if you work it.
I would say it's about the journey, not the destination. Because we're here for a journey. The destination is just the beginning of another journey. So document the journey. Just do it. Go out and you don't have to be an expert. Just don't tell people you're an expert. Like it's okay to not have it all figured out.
Or the other way around. Pretend you're an expert and people believe you.
You manifest your own reality, really. I mean, whatever you have, everything you need in here. So get that thought process right, get the manifestation going, operate from a place of abundance where I know the universe has everything I need. It's available to me right now. It's available to me when I need it. So if you want that camera or that computer, just go ahead and operate with what you have and operate in that abundance mindset that, hey, when the time is right, when everything's perfectly aligned, it's going to come to me. It's already mine. It's just sitting there and it's going to be here whenever it gets here. And you operate from that place, a lot of really magical things can happen. But you just have to operate. You have to start somewhere, and you don't have to know everything. You can pretend like you do if you want, but I don't pretend to know everything because I'm not even close. I don't think I'll ever be close.
I do. Joking. We notice the things and we're just, it's easier to create a straw man with others because you notice it in yourself. And you can't speak to it in anybody else with authority until you speak to it in yourself and you've overcome it. And yeah, if it's working for you, share it. Come on, you always have a job. If you help somebody get to where they are trying to get to and you can help them, you're already an expert. You really are. You can help me overcome trauma. You can help me start a podcast. You can help me, man. Do what you love to do and keep doing more of that good stuff. I think that's what everybody deserves to do.
Yeah.
It is my desire to see a world where people know what star system they came from, know what talents they have, and act accordingly and live your life and go to school accordingly. Man, come on. That's how the ancients did it. And that's how we're doing it spiritually, not in the physical. It's a spiritual school, invisible college.
Yeah, actually, you guys made me think of when I was traveling in East Africa for a long while. I constantly came across unbelievable young artists. Um, yeah,
Mm.
actually, a lot of younger men, because the women in those cultures are always at home cooking and doing all that home stuff. But incredible artists who some of them thought they were incredible and they were kind of doing some basic stuff. Other ones were super incredible and they had no idea. But outside of North America, the Western world, often life expectancy is like, 45. So by the time you're 30 and you want to paint, you just start painting. I think they had this really intuitive knowing, like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to. And so people were doing it at younger ages, not really caring how it turned out. But I would walk in and I would think, wow, look what an accomplished artist. And it was just like, oh yeah, just like what kids would do in Canada and America, and then we lose it, and then we, try and pick it up later. So I think there's a lot of pressure to be really like perfect and schooled and know the right people and network before you put something out in the Western world that really doesn't exist in the developing world. So yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, and just like tell us what you're up to, where people can find you. I'll put links in the description, but yeah, let us know.
So our online community, we've talked about it a couple of times. We love our meetings there. We meet there twice a week on Thursday nights and Sunday mornings. We do sometimes little breath work and prayer exercises. We do some dives into study. We hang out sometimes and just chit chat about what God's showing us and what other people are going through. And it's a fun, safe place to ask questions and to be who you are without feeling judged or rejected. And you ask a question you think is a stupid question. It's never a stupid question. Like there are no stupid questions. But that's what we do and we love it. And it's at seer.school. So www.seer.school. And that's how you can sign up for that. There's also a lot of resources on there. All of our meditations that we've done, they're mostly his, but I have one that I just did on there. Guided meditations. Some have sound effects and
Voice actors.
voice actors. They're really great, really fun practices. And they're all available there. There's a lot of study, a lot of books. We're trying to make it like a go-to resource for kind of all of our many different things just in one place.
It's kind of like you've been a patron, and so it's kind of like what Patreon was, supposed to be. But other platforms had other things that they did better, so we're trying to, bring them all on Discord community, Patreon. Then you have a course community platform. It's like this one is all of them there, so it's kind of like that, and just I mean, all the stuff we talk about, just the notes and the deeper teachings on the scriptures on this stuff that I do nerd out about is a reason why I believe all of this is not just the experience. I need to read it. I love ancient text, and so I can back it up. And so that's what we're trying to do there too with courses. And you mentioned cleansing and stuff like that, and we got all the scriptures and there's one on there literally about all of our practices documented and just with scriptures backing and the deep science behind it and tutorials, meditation tutorials that work, like what took me a long time to do, to work through fear and all kind of stuff, that now I'm like, okay, this is, if I knew this beforehand, nobody told me. And then you do it with a group and you can take them with you on the meditation and have profound experiences and be, come on, man. This is why they don't want us coming together and knowing who we are. Because we did it before, like you said. We're doing it again.
Anytime.
We'll probably do it again somewhere else, and that's cool. Maybe we'll get to see something different.
Yeah. I will never forget when you brought out your guided meditation. I think it was called The Throne. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Unbelievable. If anybody's watching this, you've got to at least check out that meditation.
It's free.
Life-changing. It's free. Okay. I remember when you put it out and I bought it because it just, even
Yeah.
the imagery like spoke to me right away. I'm like, I need that.
I think one your comment is like one that I used as a promo or something. Like on the
Oh,
I
cool.
did like a couple testimonials or something, just where people sending me messages, and I was like, that's an awesome message. So I think on one of the websites, your name is on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. Well, I'm just getting shivers talking about it now. So, and I'm excited to go and check out yours too, Erin, after this. Okay, awesome. Yeah, well, thanks, guys. This has been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. We enjoyed it so much.
Thank you for inviting me. I haven't been on many other podcasts, so it's a real honor.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm even more
Keep
grateful.
her in the corner.
See, you try to push me.
No, she
yourself
starts
out.
getting in front of the mic. She starts getting up in the camera. Now, when we first started, I was all like this. I was like, yeah, let's talk. Let's talk. And she's
It's been a learning curve.
for both of us. But we
Thank
got
you
this.
so
Thanks
much.
for having us, my friend. We'll have to do it again. Thank you.